of clean water before you got there. I thought
Yeah.
that step one. I probably could have done a lot more to be prepared, but
I think it was perfect, to be honest, because it gave me a refresher as well. By the way, are we live?
yes, we
Oh,
went live.
okay.
Live.
Okay. Yeah, I'd forgotten those particular kits. Those what are they called again? Brewer's Best.
Oh,
That there is
yeah,
a
there it is.
considerable amount of preamble prior to pitching the yeast. Making the wort, of course, is and that first step is the big thing. Whereas most of the kits that you get these days, the Festas and I forget. Anyway, the whole 23 liters of wort is in a big plastic bag, and you snip the
Mm,
top off and throw it in there, throw your yeast, and say done.
mm.
And say sayonara to it for a week. But these ones are quite massively different. And I'd forgotten that we had to do all that grain steepage and all that. But it was a really good refresher for me as well, because it's been quite a few years since I've brewed a brew from grain, from scratch. And it was
Well,
a good thing to do.
it was a very, very good time.
It was.
Enjoyed it. And again,
Mm.
thank you for coming out and helping me do that. At least, if not the least, keeping me company and doing half of it when I had to run off and do other things.
And then get some equipment that you hadn't yet got.
Yeah, there's stuff like that. It'll accumulate, and I'll put it over in my
Oh, yeah.
in the corner of the room with all of this spacious.
Yeah. And in
Empty
about
space.
6 weeks, you'll be drinking some delicious Irish stout, your own.
6 weeks to a step. Well, let's do the math on that one. This is currently half. Well, it's the 9th of no
I say 6.
of October. So, 1, 2, 3,
Give yourself give yourself
4,
8 weeks, really.
5, 6, 7, 8. December, late November, early December.
Yeah. Yeah.
A
Perfect.
long December, and there's a reason to believe maybe this year will be better than the last.
Okay.
Do you know that one? That's a good Counting Crows song. You should.
Should I?
Do you know?
Do we do would you sing it like that whiny
Yeah,
cheesy way that Adam Darrett's does?
yeah. It is.
Yeah, he
A
whines a
long
lot.
December, and there's reason to believe maybe this year will be better than the last. I was working in the lab late one Friday. Hear that voice? It's the same. It's the exact same voice.
I prefer your version or your voice to his.
It's Mr. Jones.
That's saying something.
He said he's
Yeah.
Mr. Jones. It's Mr. Jones. And me. This only works if you understand the Counting Crows song that I'm singing about. Rebecca's probably laughing her face off. Anyway, I'm Ross. Joining me as always my co-host Ian. And for once ever, slightly early for the season of Halloween Oktoberfest, we are attempting to drink Nova Scotia dry. Because usually, don't we eventually get around to the pumpkin ales and, midway through November? But I'm glad I pounced because I went back into Schoolhouse this week, and it's not on tap, it's not in cans, it is not available. And then the Oktoberfest up at Sea Level, it is advertised as limited time. And then just for funsies, because I think we forgot to drink this last year, I think this might be the Horton Ridge Oktoberfest from 2023. I think, because I definitely did not get it in the last 4 weeks. So I think it's been in there for a while. We're going to try it, mostly because we got to get rid of some of these ones. There's stuff in there. I keep meaning to have a clean out night. And just, one of these nights where I'm all in me onesies, and I'll get rid of all the ones that I think are no longer, well, not just not or not available, but expired.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want it doing that same thing as the honey brown Acadian.
Oh my! I was
did.
very sad about that because I was really looking forward to it, and then you said that it was one that you would enjoy.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned that 4 weeks ago that my can popped, so it's popped. It had popped for quite some time. That's definitely why it was totally flat. But when we had this conversation, I was brought up the old Scottish upbringing: waste not, want not. every single morsel must get used for something, which is why here's the fun story. Ian came around today and we finally put together the beer kit that my wife bought me. Was that a birthday present or was that a Christmas present? How long have I been
Get that for Christmas
I think
year.
I did. I think it is a Christmas present. So luckily that doesn't go quite so bad. We checked the yeast on it, but we made it today. And it came, you have to get the grains together and the mash together. And the Scott in me. Oh! So you basically dip this giant tea bag of crushed grain barley into into your hot water. And then it steeps. It steeps for 20 minutes, and then you say, there, done. And then it's, well, what do I do with the rest of it? Oh, you throw that away. Oh, but look at this perfect, can't I make a loaf of bread or something out of that? Can't I?
I think it's perfect, actually, as it turned out. I know we planned on doing this so many times down the weeks, and then something came up, which meant we had to put it back. But as it happens, the day we finally settled on, today, like the 9th possible opportunity to put it on, turns out to be, and I only found this out this evening, Canadian National Beer Day.
Is it?
Today. Absolutely.
I feel like
October the 9th.
I feel like there's a beer day every other day.
There's always national this and national that, national brothers, sons and dogs and aunties and stuff day. But this turns out to be Canadian Beer Day. So if you couldn't get a more appropriate day to put your first ever homebrew on, Ross, as it turns out. I think it was fate. It was fated.
International Beer and Pizza Day is what it's telling me on nationaltoday.com. However, on November 7th, there's an International Stout Day. It's too bad that it's not going to be ready on November 7th because we would have it for International Stout Day.
Well, we'll have them instead. We'll have some stouts instead. Maybe if we're doing a show on the November 7th, I don't know. Maybe I need a calendar or something like that. That would be cool.
August 8th was International Beer Day. Today's International Beer and Pizza Day. So we should have made a pizza as well. We missed a step.
If you look it up again, because it's Canadian Beer Day. Not International Pizza and Beer Day, but it's Canadian. I don't know.
Annual celebration of the positive social aspects of Canada's beer culture. Well, all right.
There you go.
We're doing it.
Hello.
We're definitely doing that.
We'll do it.
When exactly is Oktoberfest is what I'm trying to find out, because we've got two Oktoberfests and one pumpkin ale tonight, and the main reasons for that are there are a couple of other pumpkin ales. The Nine Locks pumpkin one and the Breton spiced up and the Gravedigger is back in the LC. So the three of those are back in the LC. The SchoolHouse Pumpkin Paddler was in very limited quantities. Patty's decided they're not making a pumpkin one this year. Sea Level didn't have a pumpkin one. Propeller has a pumpkin one. It was on tap at a spot I was at in Wolfville a few weeks ago, and it wasn't very good, so I didn't seek that one out tremendously. The SchoolHouse staff said that this one is their favorite thus far. They think it's as good as 2 years ago and better than last year. And I sorry, my memory is not perfect for these kinds of things. But and there was one other, because when I was at Wayfarers just this past Sunday, they had a pumpkin ale on tap, and they even give you a rimmed glass, and it wasn't a Wayfarer's pumpkin ale. They had brought it in from one of the other tap rooms, and I honestly cannot remember where it was from. And it was okay. Well, let me see if I can find that one out. But I'm learning also that Oktoberfest isn't in October.
It's September in Germany, whence it came, of course. No, and typically, of course, Oktoberfest beers are not. We should not confuse those with pumpkin beers at all.
No,
because the
that's
pumpkin
true.
one. Oh, yeah. So it just so happens it ties in kind of with the same time of year. So Oktoberfest are more lagery and pilsnery down there in Bavaria, whereas of course when we talking about autumnal beers, we always throw in the spices We tend to, and then stick pumpkin at the front of it, because that's something, of course, that we do here in Canada, but not necessarily do in Germany. From whence the Oktoberfest beers did come.
Yeah.
I don't care. They're all of a time of the year, and so therefore there is a theme.
Time of year. We're just sort of mishing it all together. I worried about missing out on the pumpkin ale opportunity since it's already gone. You can't even get this right now. I got the last can, or the last couple of cans, so I'm sort of, well, sorry. I'm glad I picked some up because I have some extra. There's my buddy Tom keeps saying, "Oh, I want to come down to the valley, but I need to have some pumpkin beer." And I went, I don't know that you're going to find any.
Well, tell your buddy Tom, if there is any of that Gravedigger by Upstreet left in the liquor stores, if I haven't already bought them all up, stock for next year, then he really needs to get his ass into the liquor store and pick those up before they disappear, because I don't think there is a better pumpkin ale around than that, personally.
I will certainly tell him about
just the greatest.
About that one, because yes, that is our plug for the year. Hopefully it tastes as good. It's not like a new batch or anything like that. But to start us off at the 5.1% entry level percentage, we've got, potentially from last season, but Horton Ridge's small batch of Oktoberfest, which is considered a Marzen beer. And I find absolutely nothing about this online. There's, well, not about Horton Ridge. Couldn't tell you anything about this one. There's nothing on the can about it. And online, they didn't seem to announce that they were doing it. However, a Marzen beer is a lager, medium to full body, varies in color, amber through to dark brown, traditional beer served at the Munich Oktoberfest. So this is just a traditional... Oh, hello. Got a bit of a fizzy to it. Hopefully yours didn't explode too much.
I'm rather proud of myself because while you were saying all that, I managed to peel the label off the can.
So it could be anything.
And it's in my hand. It's a see-through thing.
Oh.
No, it's organic. So they have on their cans. Do they still do this, Horton Ridge? I know you said you're not sure when this was from, maybe it was last year. Do they still use the same generic can and kind of just put a sticker on front, or have they...
I think so, because they do a lot of small batches, I believe. I'm hoping to get in touch with them and hope to get them on the show at some point soon. But as of now, we just have to question things and make assumptions. And why
not? This might be wheaty.
Oh,
really? Well, it's the malt house.
I'm getting a malty bready.
I'm getting malt. Absolutely, I'm about to say that. But I wonder if it's. Look at the colour of it. It's very. Oh, actually, it's light as I thought. It was looking really light there, but it's not now.
I was getting a nice little kind of orange, almost a bourbony, like a nice Kentucky bourbon kind of cooler from it. It's a little cloudy, but I like the little cloudiness of it. I wish I knew what was going on, other than the fact that it's just Marzen, so you have to go with it's just a basic Marzen Oktoberfest. So I'll try German Bavarian style amber dark lager.
That's significantly different colour than what I was thinking it was when I started to pour it. It is actually quite golden, isn't it? It's a good-looking pint.
I should say so. Did you get all the dregs? I've got all the dregs from mine. Nothing left in my can. It's having this sonorous sound of that hitting off of another thing. There's not too many times that I've had a Horton Ridge beer and thought to myself, "Ooh, I don't care for that." So I'm hoping.
Was it the Smokehouse? Oh no, it is the Malt House, Horton Ridge. We've said in the past that yes, they all are quite malty, and which considering its name, it's kind of a bit of a giveaway. But they have been all malty affairs and we dig that.
And
So
but
hopefully this
also
is going to be no.
good, good and malty and balanced and whatnot. So not hop your face off kind of stuff, but
Yeah.
definitely towards the other side, which I'm perfectly fine with.
Oh,
Right,
I'm ready.
Prost for the Oktoberfest.
Prost. Yeah, let's go.
Huh.
So that's a Martin, is it?
That is incredibly smooth.
Yes.
Because it tastes invisible. What are you getting out of that? The mouthfeel is it tastes like there should be more flavor than there is.
It goes away quite quickly. Actually, I was about to say that it was really full of flavor, but there again, it doesn't.
On that first gulp,
it's not hanging around.
No.
Yeah, it's hanging around. It's very smooth.
That is far too easy to drink. That is crazy. Okay, there's a little bit now hitting the back of the teeth. Just a teensy bit of a bready cereal, great. Yeah, just a. I guess when you're saying a lot, lagers often just crush this, session that, get it in you. It doesn't really have all that much of a personality thing. This is a malty lager.
Is it? You're getting a lot of malt from that, are you? Because I'm not.
I'm getting more of a sweet malt than I am of a bitter traditional lager flavor. That's for sure. There is nearly no flavor, so there is zero lager flavor. I wouldn't pick this up and say, "Oh, that's definitely a lager." I would say your amber ale is a bit weak. Okay. Someone would say, "Oh no, it's a Marzen." And I'd say, "Okay."
Because I've never had one. I never even heard of it until 20 minutes ago. Got nothing to compare it against, but it says a lager on the side. The fruit flies are going crazy again.
You say that, but we do have another Oktoberfest. I mean, the pumpkin is just here for us. The pumpkin ale is just here for our sensibilities. But the Sea Level has an Oktoberfest from this year. So I am going to save a little tiny dreg at the bottom of the glass to compare with them.
I mean, Oktoberfest. I'm kind of struggling a little bit with what designates a beer an Oktoberfest beer. Can you look that up? I wish I could, because I can't do both things. If I start looking my phone up, I lose you.
What exactly is an Oktoberfest beer?
Thank you.
Bit of an odd duck. It can be tricky to classify. The Oktoberfest beer category includes both brews specifically made for serving at the official Oktoberfest festival, as well as beers brewed in that style. There are only 6 local breweries that are permitted to serve their beers at the Munich Oktoberfest. They list those, and I can't pronounce many of those. Important to understand that the beer has changed since the first festival to create blah. In America, our Oktoberfest tend to be red-hued, slightly sweet beers known as a Marzen. Now, in the small letters on the Horton Ridge one, it says Oktoberfest, and then down below it says Marzen. And I think the description of the Oktoberfest for the Sea Level here also says Marzen in it somewhere. So they're sort of, oh, okay, this is the Amber Oktoberfest. This is the Marzen one, where the original one is not doing that, or at least the proper one that you get at Oktoberfest in Germany, set out to mimic historical styles served at the official festival over the years, but are almost invariably lagers. Okay.
I'm not sure whether I love this.
I might. I might, but at the same time, it's very weak tasting. But I guess if you want to go to a festival, if you were to go to Oktoberfest, I think I'd want something easy to drink, easy to get through a lot of. I mean, 5.1 might be a little high for saying, I will have 12 Oktoberfests, please.
I don't think this is easy to drink at all. It's really smooth. Rebecca's going to glug it now, which is good. It's really quite smooth, but I don't think I could. Oh, she's licking her lips. She quite likes it. It's ambery. I don't know. I don't love that.
It's very neutral to me. Very neutral.
Come on.
Because it's not completely flavorless. It's just ambiguously right in the middle. There's no hop, there's no bitterness, and there's a tiny bit of sweet malt. And it tastes. It doesn't taste watery. It tastes like it's got a small amount of body to it.
Oh yeah, it does.
Could use a little more carbonation.
But then,
okay. You think it's a little flat?
Yeah.
Well, it's at least a year old.
It might
Maybe
be
it
old.
lost some of its. Yeah.
Biz and Zep.
I find it a bit. The texture of it is a bit soapy, for want of a better word.
Soapy. Interesting.
It's tiny little bit hazy. It's not clear. I don't know. You quite like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of a floral thing.
Floral thing. Okay.
Hmm.
Soapy. Yeah. I don't want another one. Actually.
No,
No, I don't. That's not to say. Look, it's a beer. So that's a good thing. That's what it's going for.
Okay, that's just it. Someone says, hey, do you want to go to Oktoberfest? And you go to Oktoberfest and you sit down at a picnic bench and they say, right, we're ordering rounds. And what do we have? And they say, well, sorry, this is the Halifax Oktoberfest. We're only serving one kind of beer. Do you want it? And you're like, yes, I will have a pint of the beer. And if this was it, do you leave the festival or do you stick around?
Stick around.
Oh, Rebecca would stick around.
I think
I'd probably cinema. You'd go. Okay, you'd stick around. Well, you and Rebecca have to crack on, and maybe Brittany can bring some sours along. I'm not a lover of this, unfortunately.
Interesting.
I think, as I said beforehand, I think everything I've had from Horton Ridge so far has had a maltiness to it that I really dig. I don't think there's one that I was like, I'm not really sure about that. This might be the first one. I hope. So I'm glad I do have someone to back me up on this, because if it was just my flavour, if it was just the can that had maybe turned a little bit because it was so old, but she's saying that she really likes it, and so therefore it's probably me. It's not hitting.
But I could get it where it doesn't have a lot of personality. It's kind of it's lacking in most of it, but I'm not sure if it's just trying very, very hard to be a smooth, crushable malty beer.
I get that.
I can't crush many of these at all.
Oh.
I think I'd probably feel a bit queasy after another one. And thankfully, for me, they're in 355.
We've been drinking wort all afternoon, so I think that might be affecting us ever so slightly as well. I'm not as thirsty as I otherwise would be.
Anyway, it's all right. It's all right. I'm not excited.
I can't even find proof that it exists. It was a one-off one shoot, and it just happened to be Oktoberfest, and I thought, well, might as well. So we're late for Oktoberfest and we're early for Halloween, but pumpkin, whatever, I don't know. I mean, the picture of the Oktoberfest from Sea Level, our next one, is in front of some pumpkins. So they're definitely going somewhere in there with
Can I just stop you before you
magicness.
go on, Ross?
Yeah.
Before you go, it probably has another use. As Rebecca is demonstrating behind me, she's covered a glass with cellophane, with saran wrap, with a little bit of the Horton Ridge Marsan in the bottom of it, and it's now going to act as a fruit fly trap
It's like fun
A,
house.
a fruit fly fun house, she says,
It
to
would.
see if we
I think you're right.
had another infestation of those pesky flies in the last few days. We're done with them.
I haven't seen them
You
this
hadn't
year.
seen it? I know.
We did have some sort of, what's the thing that Brittany fights with? There's some sort of tiny little beetle, and it's almost the same size as a fruit fly, but it's just this crawling beetle thing. And we had an infestation of those earlier in in the year. I forget what that one's called.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't get those, but the fruit flies have been crazy the last few days. Swarms of the damn things, and so we've been fighting them off with wine and rice vinegar and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But she's good. She's just going to try because they seem to be coming around the beer here. So she's made a lovely trap. It's looking good, Rebecca. Let's see if we can
That's good.
get rid of some.
I often
So
use.
It might not be a total loss for me. This beer, it might not be a total loss.
I often use Brittany's undrank sours for that because I figured they've got the sweet and also highly on the undrinkable scale. But I'm thinking that this next one will not be undrinkable. This is the Oktoberfest coming out of Sea Level, and I'm wrong. It does not say anywhere that it is a Marzen that I can tell. It just says Millstone Harvest Brew House located in the blah blah blah. Portion of our inputs is on the thing. Nothing written here on the can itself, but here on the old Instagram, they did make a post in September saying it's finally here. The wait is over. Our Oktoberfest is officially on tap. This smooth, malty brew is perfect for celebrating the season. Kick off the Oktoberfest with this delicious seasonal feature. Limited qualities, so don't miss out. We did not miss out. I think the last time I was there, this past Saturday, I think, yes. And I was there at Sea Level, and they did still have a number in the fridge. So if you'd still like to get yourself some Oktoberfest from Sea Level, now this is not an Oktoberfest Marzen, so it just says it is a smooth malty brew, and that is all that we have to go on.
Okay. Brew. They're not even going to describe it as a lager or a pilsner or anything. Just going to say it's a brew. It's a brew. It could be tea then.
It's coming out the color of tea. Also very coppery.
I like the can with the barrels on the front.
It's nice. I really like the colors that they chose. That deep royal blue with the orange highlights to it, and it's just barrels. So you got barrels around the hops. It's not sort of pumpkin all over the place. That's just their social media is all pumpkiny.
Toffee. Immediately the smell is very caramel. Oh my god.
Oh, the sweetness on that. Yeah. Oh, I had a splash of this while I was there at the tap room, and it did not give me hope. This is smelling a lot better than I recall.
It smells buttery.
Buttery, like a buttery. Yeah. Well, it would do if it's
not the bitter butter beans.
No.
Butter.
No, like butter, but toffee and caramel would be buttery for sure. Ooh, this smells.
That sentence was getting almost too alliterative for me. It's not bitter butter beans. It's just buttery. But only buttery blast benevolence.
I can't believe it's not butter.
Can't believe it's not butter beans. Oh. Caramelly, still getting the caramelly. Righto. Oktoberfest, so Prost again.
Cheers. So
wow. There's the flavor. There's the malt. Whoo! Oh, it's pretty bad when you get out malted and you're the malt house, but Sea Level has out malted them with this one. That is
sweet. Oh, so sweet.
Toffee. Very toffee. Very toffee. It's not often that sometimes we see it written on a can and it says this one's got toffee in it, and we're sort of a little.
I'm not sure.
This is
what's in them? I mean, it's all subjective. It's not getting thumbs up from Rebecca. She's
Really?
not convinced.
Oh no.
And I totally am, and so are the fruit flies. This is far more up my alley.
This
It's
is
sweet.
It's like a maple
malty.
syrup. This is a maple syrup beer. You could almost tell me.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's something like fizzy. It's a
fizziness to it?
like not carbonated, but like this fizziness.
Hmm.
interesting.
It's actually more fuzzy than fizzy. It's fuzzy.
It's fuzzy. It's a fuzzy beer. There was a fuzzy peach.
She
one that we
drank a
had not long
mouthful
ago.
of fruit flies. That's the problem. She's got them buzzing in her
buzzing.
mouth.
Yeah. No, I like this.
This is
This is
really
more-
good.
This is more in keeping, I think, with a pump. Even though it's not pumpkin spice, it has more of an October and a pumpkin feel to it.
And
Speckled hen, do you think so?
a little.
don't.
Honestly, yes. I am tasting
Yes,
some
you
old speckled hen in this. It's
Isn't that
sweeter.
interesting?
but-
I've drunk billions of them, and I'm not getting that.
I think it's purposefully ambiguous. So there's a picture of it in front of some pumpkins, and it says this smooth malty brew is perfect for celebrating the season.
Yeah,
So it gives you
The season.
it might. We're not saying pumpkin pie, but it could be pumpkin pie.
so you're getting some spices in there then, and I guess that might be the reason why Rebecca says then that they're speckled hen, because that is a bit that does have a certain spiciness to it. Not as much as it used to since they changed the recipe, but there is certainly some spiciness to it there. It's quite different to me, but it's I guess it does have a slightly spicy.
I'm not sure that I'm getting the spiciness from it, and any kind of smell like a nutmeg or even a cinnamon. But this is just flat out sweet pumpkin,
for
pumpkin
sure.
pie, whipped cream and all. There's a maple syrup. There's a syrupy, the syrupy sweet, so very sweet. Good though, not overly sweet. So it's the more flavorful of the two, and the more uniquely flavored. The Horton Ridge Malt House one was flavored with a bit of a malty body, but not much else. This one has a bit more of a whomping personality.
My ears are on fire all of a sudden. It's
Okay.
you know when you have red wine, and maybe you're not as hydrated as you should be, and your face flushes and your ears burn. I've got that going on. I crawled out of bed. Maybe I should have taken a longer drink of water. My ears feel like they're on fire. It might help with the shirt, the extra shirt that I've just put on as well. Yeah, I feel like all of a sudden like I'm drinking alcohol.
Adding a layer definitely would make your ears feel hot.
Yeah, they were.
That makes
Mike.
total sense.
This is so sweet.
I'm pretty sure I very much like this. But it's funny because when I had it at the pub, I didn't like it as much. And maybe it's because it was served ice cold, and so I wasn't getting a bit more of this flavor. When are they gonna...
At Sea Level itself, at the mill house, up there up in there in Sefer Mills, whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
I believe I tried a little taste of it off the tap, and I was not impressed. But this impresses me. This makes me think I want to go back and get another can or two.
It's quite malty. I feel quite full
As do
already. Yes, it's like traditionally an Oktoberfest. Excuse me. Most people will be sitting around on those huge, long, 100-foot long tables, quaffing flagons of beer. I couldn't drink much of this, even though it's quite delicious. I'm not drinking this all afternoon in the heat.
Is food served at these what is a traditional Oktoberfest food? Do you just have a sausage and a hunk of bread?
I was going to say, if they're not selling or serving bratwurst at an Oktoberfest, what kind of an Oktoberfest is that? Yeah, I can imagine, mate. It's going to be versed everywhere. Very Germanic. Probably some Bavarian cheeses.
Oktoberfest food is a Käsespätzle, Wiener
Spätzle.
Schnitzel, bratwurst, sauerkraut, potato salad, bratwurst and beer, Händel, also known as roast chicken.
And yeah, I tell you what, mate. That they were serving all of those things at, funnily enough, the German restaurant up there in what's it called?
Uh,
Not Harborville. Oh,
yep, Harborville. The Harborville Schnitzel
yeah,
House.
yeah, yes. Until until they closed down several years ago. But that sounds like you were reading straight from their menu. That was their entire menu right there.
It was their menu that I learned how to pronounce Spätzle.
Spätzle.
Spätzle. Yeah. Would you like some Spätzle? And I've had their Spätzle. It was really good. I'm sad to hear that it is no longer a thing. We have these lovely little, not quite hole in the wall, but just beautiful little hidden gems of uniqueness here in this area. I mean, going all the way out to the Halls Harbor Lobster Pound, but the Schnitzel House, the authentic Schnitzel House at Harborville, at basically the ends of the earth. You go out there, and it's the best Bavarian, German authentic food you could get. There's just little tiny places with just excellent food. The little Thai restaurant in Aylesford, the Indian restaurant there in New Minas, just these little hole in the walls, and it's some of the best food you have.
Well, I will say, in its defence, the new place that's opened up now, in the one that's taken over the place in Harborville, that very building, we've eaten there a couple of times, and I think it's really rather nice. We had the fish both times, and it was perfect. It's perfectly fine. So it is a fish restaurant now. It's very much more maritimey than a Schnitzel house would be. But I hear what you're saying. It was nice to have something a little bit different from a maritimey fare. While it was the Schnitzel house, but at the same time, it's nice also to have a fish restaurant right down on the bay.
It is. So, and I mean, we complain about that here and there. Brittany and I, we want more things along the coast. We want more places with a sea view, and people. It has been asked to me several times, and I've asked the question, when I'm in Wolfville, you're in Wolfville, you're right there, the Minas Basin comes all the way around, it heads down, all the way to Avonport, Hantsport, there's these port towns, and there's nothing on the water, let alone fish. Seafood restaurants. I grew up in St. Margaret's Bay. You could trip over seafood restaurants down in the South Shore, but up here, not a thing. So when they say, "Oh, where's the best seafood around here? Where's the best seafood?" Everyone says, "Well, you got to go to Digby." I said, "Why do you have to go all the way to Digby before there's any modicum or sized seafood restaurants? You could get a fish and chips here, but you get it at the family restaurant or the."
A little way up the harbour, of course, Halls Harbour has its own very good fish restaurant. Not too far from Harborville itself.
Yeah, the Lobster Place.
Right. Now I've eaten there once or twice as well down the years, and that's quite lovely.
It is.
And of course the views are spectacular as they are in Harborville.
But
so
it just feels over there.
Well, it feels though right. It feels quite right to have a fish restaurant right on the sea. So for me, I'm perfectly fine with it being a fish restaurant rather than a German restaurant.
My point is, from the bottom of Blomidon Campground, you come through Delhaven, you come through Canning, you come through Port Williams, and you take a left turn, and then you're in Wolfville, you're in Avonport, you're in Hantsport, you get all the way down to Windsor, and then it comes up and around the other side, toward the Kemp Shore and whatnot, all the way to Walton up to the Knoll Shore, Maitland.
And you've just done the whole coast there in King's Kingston.
The whole southern edge of the Minas Basin, and seafood restaurants. There might be a fish and chip place in Maitland. Maybe.
There's always the English fish and chips shop guy from Middlesbrough that parks in the parking lot by Cleves in New Minas. If you want your fish and chips, get it from a Brit. Here in Nova Scotia.
Hook and Anchor restaurant. Where's that? Advocate Harbor. Okay, never mind. It's over on the other side of the water. Dickie Baxter Tap Room,
Yeah, of course.
maybe. Scott's
I've not
Fish and Chips.
Is that Scott's Bay, or is that the name of the guy?
That's just Scott's Fish and Chips is. Oh my goodness, Scott's Fish and Chips is in Coldbrook. Okay, I've never even heard of that one.
I've never seen that open. I like this, Ross. I like this Oktoberfest by Sea Level.
So do I.
It's quite top-notch. It's quite sweet. It has a tiny little hint, a spiciness to it, so I can understand why Rebecca would think it's got a bit of the old chicken brew.
Tremendously well balanced, though.
It's very malty, quite delicious, and a big winner at the moment.
Well,
I'm lost for words because my ears are burning.
I
think I'm fire.
I think it might be a good idea to go back to the Horton Ridge one, to go back and forth with the Oktoberfests, the last dregs of them before moving on to the pumpkin ale, because I want to compare these two.
I've got to then share it with the fruit flies. I've got to take the elastic band off because that's the last of it. There's no more.
Don't drink the fruit fly spit.
Oh, okay then. I won't battle them for it. They can have it. You think I'm kidding? Actually, if I'll show you this contraption that she devised. This is a quite ingenious contraption.
Yeah.
She puts pens right underneath. She balances the cup. This has got that beer in it now. It's balanced on a plate like this, and then so they all gather in there as they have, and then she whips the pens away like that. Yeah, you see that? And now they're trapped in the inner sanctum of the beer with over the top of it, because traditionally when we tried all this. Every time you went near this thing, the fruit flies would all be scared off the surface as well, and they'd all run away. Fly.
So what is that over the top of the glass?
Yes.
But what is it? The elastic bit there.
Oh well, the elastic bit is holding the cellophane.
Right. So what is that? Is that just a solid layer of cellophane?
Yes.
Aha.
Oh, yes. You've seen that. I mean, everyone's done that before with vinegar or something.
But do you
poke? This was the one.
Do you poke the odd hole in it?
Oh, you do. This was the one she had before. I mean, you could. That one over there is crazy, and it actually says on it. I don't know if you can see
Definitely
that.
Not wine. Yeah.
Yeah, it says it's the Fruit Fly Funhouse. Free wine, flies. Definitely not wine. This is not a trap. It says on it, just in case any of them can read English. So that's done its business over there, and there's millions of them over there.
I do the cellophane thing, but then what I do is once you've got the cellophane over the glass of something, the vinegar or in my case the sour beer, I take a steak knife and I just carve a small hole. You cut a small hole, but you cut it so that it pushes it inward, so it's easy to crawl in. But it's difficult to crawl back out because you've poked and stretched the cellophane downward. It's much like the shape of a lobster trap, and you do 2 or 3 of those so they can get in, but they can't get out.
That's exactly what this is.
That is what that. However, but you've just added that additional.
Exactly what that is. But the difference being, this is fascinating, isn't it? I'm sure this is great.
Well, absolutely.
In fact, but the difference being that quite often you get flies that are also they're attracted to it and they're still sat on the top of the cellophane.
Yeah.
They're waiting to get into the holes, but they haven't found their way in there. So you might have half a dozen that are on the top, and they're not trapped, are they? Let's be honest, because they're on the outside. So when you go near that saucer again, they tend to just fly away because they're bothered by you. But because there's this second covering, which is propped up by some pens that she's precariously balanced on the plate as well. When you remove those pens, then that secondary envelope comes down over the top of them. So they're either inside the cellophane or they're then inside this second thing and they can't get out. It's genius.
My fruit flies are obviously smarter than yours because I've never had mine not be able to crawl their way through the hole and into the trap itself.
You've got smarter fruit flies. The Port Williams version is an awful lot smarter than the
So
Waterville
what
version.
you've got,
That doesn't surprise me, actually. Living here as I have for a couple of years now, doesn't surprise me at all.
maybe it's the evolution, but what you've got is a lobster trap where a lobster comes up to it, and instead of crawling in, the lobster turns around and sees that there's a policeman, lobster, putting up caution tape in a big wide circle around the lobster trap. So the lobster says, well, I can't go back in that direction. I may as well go in the trap now.
Yes, it's bluffing, double bluffing, isn't it? Yeah, I think so.
I don't know if it's double bluffing. It might be. Whew. I have finished the Horton Ridge. It remains flavorless. Very, very smooth. Very, very easy to drink, but sans any kind of side. I guess I don't want to go as low as like a 6.8 or anything out of 10 for it. So I think a 7.0. Just it sneaks into a 7 for me as an Oktoberfest.
I haven't scored beers for so long now. It seems like it's just something that I forgot to do.
Well, we had
in
so
recent...
many guests for a while. It's been lovely.
That's very true. That I was thinking that. Yeah, we kind of got away from that. I didn't love that. It's really sad to say that Hortons, because they're great. They're really great, but I didn't love that. But that one I really rather did.
The Sea Level, yes, 8, 9. Yeah. I think I'll go way up. Not quite a 9 out of 10. But
6 and 8. What I'm really excited about, of course, is that orange thing, the pumpkin spiced ale.
Yes,
I've become really excited about pumpkin spiced ales. Not just pumpkin spiced ales, but everything pumpkin spiced. Not coffee, but certainly muffins. Pumpkin pies themselves, even when we've done the pumpkin spice challenge, you and I, over the last couple of years, when we have tried to make our own dip for the rim. Thank you. I did not do it this year.
You didn't? Oh no! I'll tell you what. We'll come back. We'll have a Gravedigger night, and we'll do the full. We'll have the PEI, the Gravedigger one, as an extra special thing, and we'll have it with the sauce and the rimmed glass.
Ross has got himself a saucer full of sugary goodness, Rebecca, to kind of dip it into, and I haven't. We haven't got anything to do it in. I could do it in mustard, Dijon mustard, honey mustard. Yeah. I've got nothing to do it in. So I'm gonna have
beer. Would taste good with a honey mustard rimmed glass. This is definitely a question.
Find out.
I feel like there's a correct answer to this.
Yeah. I could find out within 5 minutes.
Is it the stinky IPA? Like the really stinky IPA would do well to have a sweetened spiciness to it?
I don't know. While you're describing the beer, I'm going to look in the fridge and see if anything would do the trick.
All right, he's going to come back with horseradish mayo. And who knows what else. The Pumpkin Paddler coming in out of the SchoolHouse Brewery. This is this year's Pumpkin Paddler. It says Pumpkin Spiced Ale. It's also coming in at 6.0%. Little stronger. And sadly, they're out. They are out of this. It went so fast, and I have a small problem now because I have just dropped that on the floor. I have not told Ian yet that I've dropped it on the floor. However, the bonus here is I can just read what it says on the website instead of what it says on the can. It's the exact same thing. Windsor knows big pumpkins, and our Pumpkin Paddler is big on pumpkin taste, loaded with pie spice flavors like fresh ginger, allspice, whole cinnamon, and infused with real pumpkin puree. Our delicious Paddler is the ideal beer for enjoying the annual pumpkin regatta or just to take the edge off a cool autumn evening. But the regatta's been done for years.
I found something.
Oh dear.
You dropped something. I found something.
I dropped mine on the floor. Here's the dent. Here's the other dent. It has been dented twice. This is going to try to kill me.
that might liven things up a little bit. I went dashing through the cupboards, and I got, would you believe, pancake syrup. That
That's the
might work,
stuff.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
If you
It's not
have,
maple
do you have
syrup.
brown sugar or cinnamon?
Not cinnamon, but there's brown sugar. Surely this will be sugary enough. Brown sugar, yes, to give it that kind of grittiness.
No such thing. Yeah, you're going to get a little bit of the grittiness in there. So, the update. It does say, our delicious paddler, this delicious cinnamon and infused, whole cinnamon. It doesn't say it's infused with pumpkin puree. So this is the updated label. I think I'm looking at an old one. But this pumpkin spice ale is the ideal beer to pair with fall adventures or a local harvest meal, because it used to say that it was perfect for the regatta, and the regatta is pretty much no more, which is the sad part.
But they do have the lake back, don't they?
Yep.
Escape notice that every time I go that way now, there's a big watery hole where one used to be, and then it wasn't one, and now there is one.
Yeah.
So
I agree. It is in existence, but its existence is questioned and questionable. It's a really difficult topic. The way we talk about it, the way we describe it, there you go, there's my rimmed glass, is that basically the current government doesn't want to deal with it because it's too complicated of an issue with the First Nations. So they're just kind of delaying any kind of decision-making process and hoping that it becomes someone else's problem.
And what they're hoping they get voted out. So
they're kind of expecting to at this point. Yes, absolutely.
Oh, okay. And they'll be like, thank goodness we don't have to tackle that anymore. And I can take my P45. That's my unemployment benefit and move on.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is effectively what the plan is. So this has been dropped. It is banged up. It is contents under pressure right now. I'm going to try to open it really quickly, and then if it starts to foam, I am going to catch it with my pumpkin spiced bowl. So I'm going to try to see if I can just. Huh?
As you picked that up and you said catch it, that's what it looked like in there. That slurry brown thing.
Well, no,
yes.
No.
So you've got cinnamon in there,
yeah,
and you've got sugar rimmed. Yeah, I've done that last couple of years with you, and I'm kind of like, why didn't I think of that? So I've just got a really boring bowl of syrup
and
a glass in it.
That's perfectly
So we'll
fine.
see.
I think that's okay. I'll see you on the other side. I'm going to see what happens when I crack this puppy open.
I will have to watch this.
Pay no attention. Absolutely nothing happened.
That's not a good sign, because if you drop a carbonated can on the floor, you'd expect something to happen. So maybe it's undercarbonated. It's going to be all right. It's going to be dull.
There's some spice to it, though, is the issue. It's definitely tasting kind of spicy. I took a quick sip off the side.
Okay, that was your Sean Connery, was it?
It was an attempt at the Sean Connery. I was trying out my my Steve Coogan and Rob Brydon.
Pumpkin-y? Ross, did you get your nose in there? Does it? I was going to say, did it smell pumpkin-y?
Yes.
Mine does. 100%.
Oh, not just pumpkin-y.
100%.
That's the good pumpkin spice, though. You know, I am a spiced pumpkin. I have a tiny bit of cloves and a little tiny bit of nutmeg and a zing of cinnamon, but it's that very solid pumpkin-y flavor. It's
so much so that grave digger. It might be under threat.
Look at the brown.
For the pumpkin spice.
See the cooler of it is browner.
Color.
Browner than the others. Oh, do you know what I'm seeing? Can you look closely at the head on it? Have you poured it? Is the head coming through? are there little flecks of what look like cinnamon and nutmeg in the head of this beer?
Did you pour it all?
No, because it won't, because I have to wait. But while I'm waiting for the head to settle, I'm seeing specks, like dirt, like grit. There is stuff in the head of my pumpkin spiced beer, and I mean, we get excited about having the sea monkeys and the tiny little bits of grit and everything. So, but I am more excited about pumpkin spiced grit than I am about even just regular beer grit. Grit and bear it.
The grit that might have nestled into the lip of the can and then kind of found its way into the glass, you mean?
No. Because I've started, the other thing I've
No.
started doing is rinsing off the tops of the cans.
That's a good idea.
Especially because it's happened to us a couple of times where we go to crack one open and we're like, oh, this one's dusty and is that, you know.
But you brought both of these, bless you, so recently that
Oh,
that
yes.
you didn't even allow that to happen.
Nope.
Right. Unfortunately for me, I'm not seeing any of the dead bits floating in the head.
Oh.
By the way, it's a spectacular looking head on
yes.
that deep brown ready beer. But disappointing for me is the pancake syrup thing just disappeared from the rim of the glass. So therefore, I've got nothing to make it look all pumpkiny and unseasonal, apart from the smell of it, which is so pumpkin spice. Oh my goodness! Sometimes I think the Christmas and the Christmas ales and the autumnal ales kind of they smell a bit similarly because they've both got that spicy thing going on.
I wish. Well, I was just about to say, have you ever been in the mall, when you go to the mall, specifically the Halifax Shopping Center, and I always walk past, there's a store called Yankee Candle?
Yeah.
A whiff.
Yeah, and you're going to go straight to the pumpkin spice candle. Yes. Is that what you're saying?
The pumpkin spice, this smells like, and I mean, I don't want to say this smells like an artificial flavor, but it does smell like the artificial flavors that are trying to emulate the very, very pumpkin-y spiced natural flavors.
Yeah, I hear you.
He said, look at that. It's got.
I just dashed to the cupboard again to see if I did have. I thought I better steer clear of putting other brown powders on it because there was paprika and curry powder. So I thought, no, they're all too close. Look, they're very close to the other stuff. It could turn into an IPA night, an Indian evening, without even trying to.
Why not? Why isn't there a cumin or a coriander beer? These are the things we're gonna make. A pineapple IPA, like just a full-on tropical pineapple IPA, and then I'm gonna make a cumin lager. I'm gonna spice things up. You're gonna get ruined. I want a spicy beer that tastes like wasabi. Can you imagine that? Oh, just that sushi.
Well, now you're brewing your own beer, Ross. The world is your oyster. You can start to throw in whatever you like.
It's
and
true.
We haven't tried it yet. Rebecca just appeared at my left arm. She's looking at me expectantly as we said, "Come on, try it. I want to try it."
Hand her the bottle of syrup. Hand her the tiny jug of syrup there.
I'm just going to take a big
All set.
swig.
Right. Cheers.
Cheers.
I wasn't rushing you.
Yeah, that's a.
Cloves?
Yeah, that's spicier than I wanted.
Yeah, that's very clovey. It's very spicy to smell.
It does say pumpkin spiced ale. So.
Very clovey.
Okay, you ready for this? Loaded with pie spice flavors like fresh ginger. I'm
not getting ginger.
Allspice. That
What's
might be
allspice?
the clove.
Okay.
and
'Cause-
whole cinnamon.
Cinnamon. Okay, I'm getting a very strong clove from it. It's almost overpowering. Yeah. Carry on, mate. It's very Christmassy.
Allspice is mistaken for a blend, like Chinese 5-spice or pumpkin spice. The flavor profile is multidimensional, featuring notes of cloves, nutmeg, star anise, fennel, black pepper, and cinnamon.
Gosh, there's a lot going on in there.
That's 2 licorice flavors. I'm not getting any licorice into this one.
Star anise, I'm not getting. I mean, they say there might be notes of that, but there's no notes of cloves for me. To me, it's
Cloves.
hitting me with cloves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's clove heavy. So the others might be notes of that, but I'm trying to get through the clove smell or flavor to get to them.
It's reminding me of those. What is it? The Breton spiced up one, where how come they don't understand that I want the sweet pumpkin pie flavor of pumpkin pie, and I don't want the spice flavor from the pumpkin pie?
It smelt
So
very similar, like I said, to the Gravedigger. When I cracked the can, I got so excited. I thought, oh, this is going to be so sweet. And this is going to be like eating or drinking liquid pumpkin pie with some spices to it. But this is, unfortunately, for me, is overpowered by the cloves.
And this has happened to us on several pumpkin ales in years past.
Maybe listen, Ross, who's to say? Again, it's all subjective. Some people might want that.
So
They might want it to be clove heavy.
Drink a clove beer. Hop your way forward with a clove PA or something like that. It's an option. It's a thing. But when you're saying this is going to be a pumpkin pie or a pumpkin spiced ale, it's not. I'm not expecting the spices that you associate with pumpkin and not the pumpkin part. I'm expecting the pumpkin and the spice and the.
Yeah. I'll tell you who it is an instant hit with.
Fruit flies?
The fruit flies have pulled out of the malt house beer. They've escaped the pens and they've flown straight into my pumpkin spice ale by the thousand. So it's a winner with them. Here's
how slow my
your cat shit is.
My cat poop is oh, it's making a move. It's making a move down the bowl towards, and I'm honestly just gonna pour this in. I would pour this into this beer and just mix it.
Because I envy your mix that your rim
you envy my rim job?
Yeah, if you don't end your podcast on that, on your condensed version, I'd be very surprised. I do envy your job.
I didn't know what.
It's an excellent thing. Mine's thin and watery, and because of course it's just pancake syrup, so of course it's going to be a bit less spectacular than yours.
Mine's just pancake syrup, but I mixed it with cinnamon and nutmeg and brown sugar, I think.
Oh, Rebecca's saying I didn't do any favors to the beer because of it. Maybe I've counter influenced the clove. Yeah, I'll go with that. That's the thing. Counter influence.
Better than counter intelligence.
Okay. I'm disappointed with it. Weirdly.
Same. Gosh, this is
because it smells so promising.
But you have to really. You have to drink through the cloves and kind of compartmentalize it and put it off to the side and then think, okay, what was behind that overpowering taste of cloves? You think, well, there's a bit of pumpkin in there, and okay, hang on, there's a bit of this and that, but what? Allspice tastes like a combination of cloves, cinnamon, and nutmeg.
Ross, I probably need to give it another go without dipping the glass in the syrup. Maybe I should just drink the damn beer as it's supposed to be drunk.
But
then it might be worse. I'm not sure, mate, because I was wanting to be sweeter than it is, and I don't know. Maybe the previous beer influenced me too much. Maybe I didn't wash my mouth. I don't know, cleanse my palate doing it, but it didn't bowl me over. I'm a bit disappointed.
It's darker in flavor. The propeller one that I had at where was I? I was at King's Arms Commons in Wolfville. Propeller pumpkin ale this year was a little boring. The whatever one I had at Wayfarers, it was actually pretty good, and they rim the glass for you. They give you the nice spicy rimmed glass at Wayfarers Ale Society. So head on into Wayfarers Ale in Port Williams, and get whichever pumpkin ale is on. It's from one of the other craft beers. It's not like a Moosehead or Labatt pumpkin spiced. Can you imagine making a Labatt pumpkin spiced?
Can you imagine? Yeah.
It probably tastes. It would taste like Swedish berries or fuzzy peaches or something like that. They just get it all wrong.
You've not drunk much of it. Have a look at what we've got. Comparison.
I know, but it's because it's not particularly.
No, it's not bad, Ross. It's not bad to me. In fact, it's at least it has plenty of flavour. Is what you can't say it doesn't have flavour, which is what you did say of the one up top. Where's it gone? The Horton Ridge one. You said it was a bit flavourless. You can't really say that about this. It does have plenty of character,
but that flavor is cloves. It's sort of like saying, oh, you can't say you didn't like that burger because it was very flavorful. That flavor happened to be dog poop, but it was flavorful.
And Pine Sol when it comes to the Christmas one. It has plenty of flavour. Yes, it's very distinctive, but it's not. I don't think it's balanced. It's not. It doesn't have the pumpkin. It's not pumpkin heavy with some sweetness and some spices to really help.
It's a light body behind that spice up front, but if you made it a very heavy body with lots of full pumpkin juice, the flesh of the pumpkin in behind that, you can spice it up front and then mellow it out with this huge pumpkin flavored body and then a little sweet tang on the end. And the only sweet tang I'm getting is off of the rim of my syrup that I added myself.
Well, now you're an expert in homebrew.
Absolutely. Ask me anything.
Yeah. I feel that the natural step then would be for next year for us to tackle our own homemade pumpkin ale.
The only thing that I've kind of gleaned to add to an experience in home brewing from all of these recipes and talking to brewers and things like that is that you have to add something like 6 times as much of one ingredient as you thought you needed to in order to get a flavor. So if we want to add a sweetened pumpkin flavor to, let's say, that beer that we put in just there, we would basically have to skin, we'd have to core out about 10 large pumpkins, get all the flesh, boil it, mash it all up, get the but the pumpkin pulp that would have to go in there would be so enormous to get the flavor that we're expecting. And then the sweetened flavor, they would be like cups of cinnamon to go in there. And then I think we'd probably go, just a splash of cloves. Just a little. I will hang on. I will scrape a tiny bit of allspice off this one. There, that's all. And then cloves, and everyone will say, "Oh, this just tastes like cloves and nothing else." And we would sit there thinking, "We carved and mashed up pumpkins for 4 days, in order to get the bulk of this. And this is why I almost hesitated in becoming in trying some homebrew kids. I am going to become that which I suck the wind from the sails of. And that is the brewer that says, we made this extra special blueberry malt and we went 11,000 kilometers to the other ends of the planet, to the only mountain that has the most flavorful blueberries ever, and we picked things for 8 days. 10 of us died during this expedition, but we brought them all back, we mashed it all, and we made this batch of blueberry meal. And I drink it, and I think, it's a little weak. You know, it's... I'm expecting that all of the work, the hard work, and the chemistry, the everything leads into someone saying, it's all right.
Right. Yeah. Would you have another beer if that mythical beer server could be like, yeah, what have you got? What else do you got, mate? Thank you very much.
What else do you have?
Right.
Well, I've got a pumpkin ale that tastes like cloves. Ooh, I like cloves. Bring it on.
Having said that, it's finished it off. It's got flavour. You know it's a pumpkin ale. You know it's a pumpkin spiced ale. They've just over-egged the pudding a little bit with the cloves, and that's fine. At least it does. It's tastes. I know it's in the ballpark, Ross, because there's a couple I've tried in the last couple of years. I'm like, there's really not much going on there at all. There is some stuff going on.
I feel like that's the problem. With the exception of the Grave Digger, I feel like we have been drinking spiced pumpkin ales and not pumpkin spice ales for at least for like the last 2 to 3 years. I used to love pumpkin ales, but then all of a sudden someone said, whip some spice in there, and now it's just this clove lager.
Yeah, that's quite close.
I don't want a clove lager.
Clove lager.
I don't.
Very lagery.
Can you imagine if they just the spiced ale? You know, we're calling it the Cloven Hoof, and it's some crazy goblin monster on the front with his feet kicking down a door. It's a yes. This is the spicy ale. I just gone mad with it. I would kind of get in behind that. Like
I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to give Pumpkin Paddler a second go. Actually, I don't have one right now, but I'm definitely going to. You say they're only available in SchoolHouse right now? Is that right? They're not in the liquor store, are they?
No. And when I was recently at SchoolHouse just the other day, I think they were also all out of the cans.
Wow. Okay, so
I may own the last few cans over here, and I did promise my Halifax friends that they could have a pumpkin ale when they came up. Despite the fact that this isn't, I'm not happy giving this to tourists, saying, try the pumpkin ale. Welcome to the Annapolis Valley, despite the fact that Windsor is in fact in the Avon Valley and next to the Annapolis Valley, but they take part in the Apple Blossom Festival. Have I been talking too long and over-explaining this beer and entire industry? Probably, but have a go at it.
Well, I do find myself in Windsor now, maybe once a week because of that little musical thing that's going to go on.
Right.
So I am going to pop in there and see whether or not they'd run out of stuff from the shelves, and maybe there was stuff out the back. Fingers crossed, because I want to give this a second go, but I want to do it without having other beers, and I want to do it without my awful pancake syrup rimming the glass. I want to give it a second go because I think it deserves it. Because I love the fact that SchoolHouse are a local brewery to me, and they do some good stuff. I want to give it a second chance because there aren't that many pumpkin spiced ales available. Oh My Gourd is on the shelf again.
Yep.
The Propellers pumpkin ale is on the shelf again.
Oh, is it? Oh,
and
okay.
And Gravedigger's wonderful.
I thought the Bread Spiced Up was in there as well.
Right, so there's probably 3 or 4 again, and several of those have been on the shelf now for several years.
Propeller
so
didn't impress me, and I didn't like the spiced up, but yeah.
Right.
Might have
I
to
want to
back
give
the
it
other one.
another go. I want to give it another go. So I will do if it's available. And it's Ross, right now I'm going to say it's overcloved.
Yeah.
But at least I know that I'm drinking a harvest time autumnal Octoberish ale. It's that, but it's not as nicely balanced as
You
some.
are in SchoolHouse on a Tuesday, is that correct?
I'm in Windsor on a
Yeah,
Tuesday.
yeah,
Every
sorry.
other Tuesday.
Okay, so they close earlier in the week, so go in before go to the pub before you go to your rehearsal. That's my suggestion and recommendation right there. Not just because you might need a drink to get along with everybody, but they'll be closed by the time you get out.
Yeah, of course.
They do
Been there a little.
have, and I tried it this week. There's a new sort of a reddish amber ale. I forget what it's called, but it's on tap, and it's going to be available on Friday. So by the time you go next week, I can't remember the name of it. It was on the honor roll. So, I learned another thing. I went to SchoolHouse, and they have an honor roll, which means you can pay to be a part of it. It's like a subscription service. You pay to be a part of the club. You're on the honor roll at the SchoolHouse Brewery, and that means when a new brew comes out, you get to have it served to you.
No way.
I couldn't get this beer served to me. I had to sweet talk several of the servers before they'd let me even get a sample of this. And it was pretty tasty because they said it reminds me of the Scotian Export. And I said, ooh, I like the Scotian Export. That's their red ale.
Yeah.
It's quite tasty.
Yeah.
So I managed to sweet talk them into letting me try a little sample taste since it's not out yet. But it means you get it like a week or two ahead of all of the plebs that don't buy the subscription service.
Yeah.
That's kind of neat.
Okay.
So I'm very curious.
What's that project called? Because if I'm in there, I might.
The honor roll.
The honor roll.
Honor.
Okay.
So honor as in honorable combat, and a roll as in a. So it's part of. We're getting back to every time we talk about SchoolHouse in Windsor, we talk about scholastic ability, and in Canada, if you finished a year with an average of all your grades across everything in the semester of 80 to 90, you were on the principal's list. That's what they called it. And if you had an average of 90 plus, 90 to 100 in all your courses, then you were on the honor roll. So it's the honor roll. It's continuing this scholastic thing. And it's I think it's a funny idea. It's really cool. But I will tell you. Okay, lean in. I won't tell everybody. But the server let me know that the year transfers over in December. So right now you don't actually get a discount. You have to pay the full year for your honor roll subscription, and it's only good until December.
2 months worth, or two and a bit months.
But you pay for 12.
Ooh,
so
yeah,
she said. So she recommended coming back and paying for the honor roll, so the full year-round subscription in December.
That's a great idea. I wouldn't buy a golf membership for the whole year in October,
right?
And then I'll get a new one on January the 1st.
Yeah,
I'll take that under oath, and I'll do that. I see you've still got some of your remaining rimmage. Carrying it's stuck to the
it's yes. It's a little on the inside there.
That's
Stop making those noises while I'm licking the brown sugar out of the inside of my pint glass.
That's right. If we should come across
slightly disturbing.
If we should encounter another one of these seasonal ales before October or even November, as shuffled off this mortal coil. Maybe we'll have another go at one. You never know. We might find one, and in which case I'm going to prepare my saucer.
Yeah, I thought of texting you because I thought, I'm making the saucer thing. I wonder if he's going to remember to do that. But this was technically the Oktoberfest night. We just snuck the SchoolHouse one in there because we had it. So I think we need to have the proper pumpkin ale night. And let's invite outsiders to that one just for funsies.
Outsiders.
You know,
Ross,
squares.
I'm not heartily encouraged by the pumpkin paddler at
No.
but that's why it's a 6.5. At least it's pumpkiny. At least it's seasonal. But I didn't love it. This evening has been okay. The Oktoberfest, Sea Level, Sea
This
Level has kind of won out for me a little bit. It
It-
was
it was the
malty
only
and
one that I had a taste of before, and it was honestly the one that I thought, okay, we'll just gloss over that because I was not impressed it. But it saved the evening. It really did.
yeah.
So did
Uh,
this puddle of sugar pudding.
Muchas gracias to local breweries because we love them. Keep them coming, and then at least we can try them and say, it was great, or it's not so great. Um, um, I'm taking my peanuts and my fruit flies and my syrup, and I'm out of here. Good night.
It's funny. You say you're taking the fruit flies, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna stay. No, they're gonna split. They're gonna divide and conquer. Flies are like that. I need to thank Ian for being here tonight, and to Horton Ridge, Sea Level, and SchoolHouse Brewery for making the three that we tried tonight. It just didn't quite land. We remain unclear as to why everything has to be quite so spicy for the paddlers, or then the Horton Ridge. Sorry, yeah, I think it was from last year. The Oktoberfest, though, that really came back and made a new name for itself. But we are here every week. We're now on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. I think we've got a couple of guests lined up. Can't quite think of it at the moment. But if you look up our podcast, we're at Drink NS Dry at all the podcasty locations. We're youtube.com/@DrinkNSDry. If you want to go straight to the source, it's unsupervised. No, wait. drinkns.unsupervised.beer. If you can make any sense of that. Drink Nova Scotia Dry or Drink NS Dry on the TikTok, the Instagram, the Facebook, all the silly places. I don't think we have X, but that's because, how can I put this delicately? Elon Musk is an immature, unlikable human being. There, that's the nicest I can put it. So, thank you for joining us, and we're here every week on Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Join us next week, and we'll drink some more